A very good afternoon to all of you. A very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you. In fact, I completely agree with Ashton that the sessions post-lunch are the easiest sessions because either you're thinking about the good food or you're not thinking about the good food because the food was bad, or you're still ruminating about the food that you could have possibly had outside. And then you're thinking whether I should listen to this person or whether I should go to sleep. So in that entire game, you can actually breeze through. So I think this is basically the best part of the entire session. Now, why am I here? The reason I'm here is because there was, in the month of October 2020, an organization by the name of Advent International. Please understand, I'm not promoting any organization out here. I'm just telling you the brief as to why I'm here and what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm just creating a little bit of story around that. And I'm not going to be boring you. I don't have a presentation. I'm going to be talking about my experiences. I'm going to be sharing some very funny and some real life experience that I've seen over the past 3.5 years. So in the month of October 2020, there is an organization, a global private equity firm by the name of Advent International. They decided that they wanted to have controlling stakes of API manufacturing organizations across the India, and they wanted to create merchant API platforms. So what do you mean by merchant API platforms? Basically, we would be the suppliers for the big formulators, innovator companies across the globe. So we started our journey, Advent started our journey in the month of October 2020, and we acquired a small-time organization in Hyderabad by the name of RAChem. Now, the organization that I stand here for is a very, very nascent organization in the history of all the organizations that you guys are coming from. We are just 1.5 years old. Now, the reason we are just 1.5 years old is primarily because the amalgamation of all these 3 organizations that I'm going to be talking about actually happened in November 2022, and the merger of all the 3 organizations happened with all due permissions from NCLT and ROC in February 2024. So technically speaking, we are just approximately a 1-month-old organization. Now, this 1-month-old organization is a blissful amalgamation of 3 different organizations: RAChem, ZCL Chemicals, Avra Labs, and there are a couple of more organizations which are in the pipeline of getting acquired and who will get added into this platform, which has been named as Cohance Life Sciences. Now let me talk to you about the history and the interesting journey that we have had. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is that all these 3 organizations and the other organizations that we are talking about, or some of the news which is already there in the market and ET and everywhere, of the other organizations that we are talking about and other organizations that we are already on the way of acquiring. See, all these organizations are promoter-driven organizations and were at different levels of maturity. So somebody would be on a scale of 1 to 10 at 3, somebody would be 4, somebody would be 7, somebody would be 5. So amalgamation of all these organizations and harmonization of all these organizations is definitely a very, very nice, tricky, and an interesting job. Because the first thing that you have to do as a HR professional and as a leadership team of the newly created organization, which has not got created as of now, is that you need to manage expectations. The only thing that you have to do as far as mergers, acquisitions, controlling, and harmonization is concerned is manage expectations. Because everybody has got expectations. The investors have got expectations. And when you talk about investors, I'm not talking about Advent International, I'm basically talking about people who have put in money in Advent so that they can actually go ahead and buy various companies across India and then return their money. So managing the expectations of the investors, that's point number 1. Point number 2, managing expectations of the leadership team. So Advent gathered a leadership team who would be managing this new company as and when it comes into being. So managing the expectation of the leadership team, managing the expectation of the employees, of course, managing the expectation of the promoter who's moving out. And lastly, and the most important piece is managing the expectation of the people or the socio-economic system or the society around the various manufacturing units. So there are so many stakeholders that you have to play with, it's not funny. So managing expectations, I'll very quickly take a few examples. So when I talk about managing expectations of let's say investors. So what is Advent looking at? What are the investors looking at? They are looking at a couple of things. One, continuity of business. The business must not drop. There has to be no zero time as far as business is concerned. It has to be continuous because we have been very good with Excel. We all are very good with Excel. So we present a very beautiful scheme to the investors saying that, guys, listen, this is what the investment that we are making. And over a period of time, this is how it will grow. This is the business with our expertise that we bring in, with the resources that we bring in, with the money that we bring in, with the investment that we'll make, with the capacity expansion that we'll bring, and also the talent that we'll bring in. This organization is to grow from X to Y. Build in a little bit of a disruption, maybe X to Y minus again A. And that is a beautiful picture and a rosy picture that gets presented to the investors across the globe. So managing that is extremely important. Most important piece, ensure no business loss, ensure getting new businesses, ensuring that the same set of people with whom the promoter was working continues to be engaged with us, continues to work with us, and continues to deliver at a higher speed and at a completely higher order. So what do? We land there on the first day and we make a presentation to them that, hey guys, we are your new owners. No, we don't actually tell that because you can't tell that. So we say that, guys, we are one of you and we are here to join you rather than you joining us. And that's the story that we start building on, and then we gave them a beautiful rosy picture like, guys, listen, over a period of time, you're going to be part of a big organization. Today, you are just possibly 500, 600 crore. Over a period of time, you're going to be part of an organization which is going to be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 crores. So we give them a rosy picture of around 5 years. And we tell them, these are the transitions that we are going to make. These are the investments that we are going to make. Another important thing that we do is that before getting into the day one, and before meeting the entire team, before getting into town halls, we try to understand what is missing in that organization. So we need to have those very small and very quick wins on the day one. If you do not do that on day one, your game is lost for the entire journey. So what is missing? Maybe the insurance, maybe the term life, maybe something, some benefit which is very, very crucial to the employees, maybe identification of critical employees who are very, very important, for example, the R&D employees. So trying to handhold them, trying to give them that benefit, trying to shackle them in very, very, very different and innovative manners is basically what is done on the first day. And that's basically what investor wants, continuity of business. Now let me quickly come back to, let's say, what is the outgoing promoter looking at. So the outgoing promoter is looking at, when do I get my money? Please tell me, when do I get my money? As long as I get my money, I'm absolutely fine. So what usually happens is that in the deal that maybe 80% of the money is transferred before the day one, and the 20% of the money is retained back because of unforeseen circumstances. Because over a period of 1 year, there will be many skeletons which will keep popping out of the cupboard, which a due diligence team of E&Y or anybody else, sorry, E&Y just came out, anybody who would have done the due diligence, they would not have possibly figured it out. So we have that retention amount with us. So his interest is that, what is it that we are finding? What is it that you guys are probing? What is it that you guys have figured out? Where do I have the risk of not getting that 20% of that money? And the most important piece is, this is a real example, and I'll not name the company. The day we landed there in one of the companies, evening of course is a nice dinner and cocktail party. So the promoter, who was actually the CEO of that organization till possibly 12 hours back, comes to me with a glass of whiskey and says, hey Sid, how are you? So what is the plan? I said, all good, doing good. You got a great organization. We are just going to make it big, greater. Yeah, I see that you have already hired a CEO for this organization. I said, yeah, you saw him, you met him. We introduced him to the organization today. Hey, by the way, tell me, how much are you paying him? So his interest is basically to figure out what is the new CEO getting versus what he was drawing as a salary. So various expectations to be managed. Let's come to the leadership team. 5 minutes? Sure. Let's come to the leadership team. Again, the leadership team has multiple expectations. Typically the expectations, how is the team? How is the organization? How are the culture? How is the culture was talked about since morning? How are the systems and processes? How is the safety norm? How are the culture norms? How do people talk about integrity? How do people talk about documentation? So all these things is basically what is expectation of the leadership team, and they would like to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it and understand the organization a little bit more and a little bit better. So the role of the HR out there is to facilitate that journey of each and every leader in that organization to go deeper and deeper and understand what is happening in that organization from a very realistic point of view. The third and the most important piece are the employees. Under no circumstances we can actually ignore them, and I'm sure this is nothing new that I'm talking about out here. The most important piece which is running at the mind of the employee is, am I safe? Am I safe? Is my family safe? That's the most important question that this person has on that particular day. And that is the answer that you have to give to him in a very, very convincing manner. You have to stand in front of the entire audience and town hall, hundreds of people, thousands of people asking you, somebody is asking you this question, but this question is there in the mind of every single person in that hall. What is happening to me and what is happening to my family? Is there a separation which is going to come? Is there a VRS which is going to come? Or you are going to just ask us to leave in a day? So giving them that confidence that it is, guys, listen, business as usual, nothing is going to happen because we are here to run the business. We cannot run the business without you guys. So that confidence, and plus, like I said, a few wins that you could possibly do that could possibly win the heart of all those people, so that they, over a period of time, it will not happen on day 1. It will not happen in day 2, day 3. It's possibly a journey of 5-6 months. So that's the most important piece, and that management of expectation is extremely important. So you roll out various schemes, you roll out various policies over a period of time, and best of the policies. So 3 different companies would have definitely 3 different policies. It's not that amalgamate them, try to figure out the best and do it. But when we are talking about being a good organization, trying to hire from the best of the organization, so we have to be a globally best and a competitive organization which has similar policies. I'm sorry. So those kind of changes over a period of time makes a lot of difference. Compensation and benefit, extremely important. Promoter-driven organizations, salaries are usually low. Elevate, bring them at a fair pay, and over a period of time, people are with you. Give them opportunities, give them learning abilities, give them learning opportunities, people are with you. And lastly, the external people. Now the interesting part about the external people is as follows. They view you as a new animal in a cage. And because the way the promoter would deal with them would be completely different than we would deal with them. A promoter would do so many things that we would not be in a position to do. So they treat you as a new animal who has just entered a cage. The old animal has been shifted out, and let us try some new tricks with this guy and see what is it that we can get. So this entire ecosystem is, this entire ecosystem which is around the units, and mostly some of our critical units, will find a way to keep you entertained. So at the end of the day, all that you have to do in mergers and harmonizations and driving efficiencies is manage expectations, and manage expectations in a very, very beautiful, nice, polite, straightforward, and in a very clean manner. That's it. Thank you, guys.